Wanted to show you a really easy playstyle for ZvZ. This one is basically 2 base Muta into Roaches with the third, and you're going to see why it's very strong. Our opponent plays pretty normal here. We both go hatch first. And neither of us really invest in a Lingbane Clash, which I've heard a lot of players prefer to just skip the Lingbane phase, and this is one of the ways to do so. So I go hatchery first. I get my gas at 18, I get my pool. Lambo did post a video about the 15 Overlord opening where you trick out a drone. That isn't really the point of this. That's a cool thing. You should check out his breakdown as to why that's the case. But it's only a few minerals difference. This is more so a game flow plan. And the reason I had this plan was because the rush feels medium to far on this map. And you have high ground to defend yourself. If this is your third, they have to attack uphill to get you, or they have to go pretty far around the side. So I was just thinking, why not have a nice comfy 2-base wall off so I don't really have to micro in the early game. I can just chill, and then I'll get my lair really quick, and I'll get full value from all my bases by having full saturation with minerals and gas. So I get lair, and then I get a third queen. Then I get my wall off here. It's kind of an ugly wall off, but it works. And then I try to keep 2 queens here so that each of them would receive 2 Zerglings of damage per second. If you have 1 queen in the center, then she can be attacked by 4 Zerglings, so she'll die twice as fast. So this is a really nice formation of 2 queens, and you have to use that hold position function. So as I'm droning up here, I'm taking 2 more gases, and then I'm taking my other gas and dropping a Spire. And the cool thing about walling off with this Roach and then playing Muta is your opponent thinks you're going Roach, because it looks like Roach. And my opponent is playing 3 gases of Roach, which means that I'm harvesting more money than them. I have 44 worker economy. Look at this, perfectly saturated main and natural. We're droning this one up a little bit more. And then I'm just sending a drone out to take a third. This is a really good play that you should do all the time in every matchup. If you don't know if it's safe to expand, just expand. And if they attack you, you can always cancel it. So we get our third base up here, Spire is going. Our opponent scouts the Spire, but it doesn't matter. It's actually kind of good that they scout the Spire, because they immediately react with the Spore in each base, or at least 1 Spore, and then they're going for Hydras. And this whole time, I'm mining off of more workers than my opponent, because Mutas can really easily spend 2 base mineral, 4 gas. And then now I'm droning my third, because I think my opponent is going to respond defensively to my Mutas. And they have responded extremely defensively to my Mutas. Kessnuts pointed out they probably missed some injects. They did miss some inject uptime on their natural because they're trying to have all the queens clumped up. So they made a Spore here, a Spore here, a Spore here, 2 Spores here, and then 2 Spores here. This is so many Spores. Count them. Every Spore that's made could have been a drone mining minerals. Now look at the Spores in my base. Notice how there are no Spores here. There are no Spores here, and there are also no Spores here. So I have way more uptime of drones. And I just have 6 Mutas. And because this map is on the larger side of maps, if they attack with their Roaches moving across the map, I can just tell my Mutas to attack these Roaches, and I can build my own Roaches if I want to, because I have the tech. Yes, my upgrades are a bit behind, but my whole plan here is use Mutas, only like 6 or 7 of them, to push away Overlords and take map control and punish any move outs to give me the freedom to drone my third all the way. So I'm trying to get 60 drones quicker than my opponent and then hit a huge Roach Ravager max out. So I'll just kind of show you the game flow here with that plan in mind. I get +1 range attack. I inject my third base as soon as it's up. And my inject uptime is way better than my opponent's here because they're using their queens defensively. They do have an inject queen in the main, but they have 1 hatchery injected right now, and then 1 hatchery not injected of larva income. And I have 3 injected hatches of income. This is a huge way to get ahead in Zerg versus Zerg. Get the larva advantage. Maybe you kill their queens to have more queens, or you just have an earlier third and you keep your bases injected more often. 64 workers to 41. And they're responding with Hydras, which are countered by Ravagers in the early mid game, because Ravagers can force Hydras to move. Hydras technically have higher DPS if they A move and a Ravager A moves. The Hydra's higher DPS. But if the Ravager puts a Corrosive Bile on the Hydra can't attack, or it's going to be hit by the Bile and die. So before you get like 2/2 or 3/3 upgrades, the Ravager generally feels like a better unit to make than the than the Hydra. Ravager's stronger than Hydras. They're making the Hydras because they want to be able to deal with Mutas, and they don't know how many Mutas I'm going to make. I could just double down on Mutas and just play Mutas and not make Roaches. But I felt like because they invested so much into Queen Spore, all of that money is completely wasted against the Roach Ravager army. Spores do nothing to Roach Ravager. Queens basically do nothing to Roach Ravager either. So we have Roach Ravager, just a normal army. 43 Roaches and 4 Ravagers. 3 Queens, I'm taking a 4th base behind this. I have +1 attack, and then I have +2/+1 on the way. Very normal setup, and then they just die. We have a 25 supply lead going into this fight, and a lot of their supply is in Queen, which is completely worthless in this fight, aside from a Transfuse. Queen DPS against Roach Armor is just poopy doopy. So yep, try it out. 2 base, wall off with Roach Evo, get your Spire, make like 7 Mutas. I took +1 attack, you probably don't want to if you only make 7. And then I drone my 3rd base all the way, take a 4th base, get 175 supply, and go hit him with Roach Rav. If for some reason they don't make any spores and they just call your bluff or whatever, your Mutas will find damage, so you can still make some use of this. It's a very strong style. Let me know if it works for you.